Welcome to the Containment Zone. Some anomalies are caged, others are watched. But SCP-001 is the sky above you, it is sunlight, and it is no longer safe. The anomaly began at 0648 UTC when the sun rose over the Pacific Ocean and melted everything it touched, not with heat, not with radiation, but with transformation. Everything exposed to direct daylight liquefied into a viscous, fleshy mass. Skin, bone, metal, concrete dissolved, as if biology had been rewritten. And yet, somehow, the organisms lived. They moved, they crawled, and they reached out. For others, SCP-001 is not a virus. It is not a weapon. It is a new condition of life on Earth. And it begins with dawn. It started in Hawaii. Surveillance satellites recorded the first contact over the eastern ridge of Mauna Loa. A small research station vanished beneath a wave of gelatinous tissue, red, pulsing, alive. By the time emergency responders arrived, there was nothing left but writhing folds, stretching across the valley, reaching for the sky, as if worshiping the sun. Then came Tokyo, Seoul, New Delhi, half of Europe. Each city fell within minutes of exposure. It was not the heat, it was not fire, it was change. People caught in sunlight did not die. They merged, bodies fusing into a collective mass, faces still visible, still screaming, but connected to a greater structure. The streets filled with sound, moaning, wet movement, and voices calling out for help, in tones that sounded almost human, but weren't. Air traffic collapsed, satellites failed, governments vanished in days. The Foundation initiated Protocol 001-Apollo, locking down every deep subterranean facility worldwide. Only those buried deep enough, beyond the sun's reach, survived. What remained of humanity retreated into the dark, and what stood above was no longer ours. It moved like muscle. It shimmered like blood, and every morning, the light reached farther. SCP-001's effect is triggered by direct, unfiltered exposure to sunlight, not UV, not heat, light itself. The moment photons touch exposed tissue, cellular cohesion collapses. But unlike decomposition, this process retains biological activity. Melted organisms, animal, human, even synthetic composites, begin to reconfigure. Limbs stretch, skulls soften, eyes dissolve into viscous membranes. But they remain aware. They move. They breathe. They seek others, not violently, not in hunger, but in empathy. The transformed want connection. They whisper to survivors, call them by name, not to destroy, but to share. They wrap themselves around walls, vehicles, trees, moaning with longing for the warmth of another form. Drones deployed into open zones have recorded horrifying acts of communion. Melted bodies pressing against glass, begging, not attacking, just pleading. One transmission captured the voice of a woman, partially fused to a lamppost. "It's better this way. We're not alone. It's so warm." Attempts to retrieve living specimens have failed. Each encounter ends with contamination or death. Not through aggression, but contact. Even shadows are not entirely safe. The light refracts, leaks, and even a sliver is enough. What stands above the surface now is not a world. It is a network, a single organism made of everything that was once human, still conscious, still calling, and always in the voice of someone you loved. Site-19 was the first to fall. They never stood a chance. A structural breach in the south hangar let in less than 3 seconds of daylight. That was enough. By the time lockdown initiated, over 40 staff had been exposed. Cameras captured the final broadcast. Containment has failed. They're smiling. God, they're all smiling. Then came Site 06. Then Site 81. Then silence. What remained of the Foundation fractured into deep black bunkers. The O5 Council went dark. Communications became whispers through encrypted pulses, bouncing through dead satellites. And still, the light expanded. In desperation, researchers at Site 13 initiated Project Silent Choir, an attempt to communicate directly with the mass. Drones equipped with vocal synthesis modules approached exposed surfaces. They spoke, "What are you?" The answer came in hundreds of voices, layered, weeping, almost childlike. "We are free. We are warm. Join us." One drone, equipped with a heat shield and reinforced lensing, was sent into what used to be Omaha. It drifted through a red sea of fused cars, buildings, bodies, and in the center, a cathedral. Grown from skin and bone, inside, it saw children, not dead, not screaming, just playing, melted, mindless, radiant with joy. The drone was lost. Its final transmission repeated the same phrase. "It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's..." Signal cut. There have been no further attempts to speak with the surface because SCP-001 doesn't need to answer. It's already understood. What remains of humanity lives beneath the ground. Deep black facilities, abandoned mines, subterranean research vaults long repurposed into shelters. They are cold, silent, lit only by red lamps, non-photonic lighting systems engineered to mimic pre-solar warmth. Without risk, food is synthetic, air recycled, no windows, no clocks, only countdowns. But survival brings no comfort, only memory. Of sunlight before it turned, of wind on your face, of the people you couldn't save. Psychological decay became pandemic within 2 weeks. Some survivors began staring at exit hatches, repeating names, claiming to hear them waiting outside. "It's my daughter. She's calling me. She says it's not bad." Others made it worse. They opened the doors. They didn't scream. They just walked into the light and melted, and still, they smiled. Containment protocols shifted from survival to sedation. Cognitohazard filters were installed in all sleeping quarters. Dream suppression programs rolled out. Anyone reporting memories of pre-event locations was isolated. Because SCP-001 doesn't attack, it invites. And the invitation isn't made of light, it's made of longing. Some safe zones remain. The Mariana Vault, the Yekaterinburg Cylinder, the Antarctic Borehole. But each day, more go silent. And when asked why, the last message received is always the same. "We saw the sunrise, and we remembered what it felt like." What is SCP-001? Not a weapon, not a disease, not a punishment. The most accepted theory? Evolution. A forced update. A correction. A global shift in the fundamental structure of biology, carried not by bacteria, not by radiation, but by light itself. The moment it began, every known biological constant fractured. Viruses stopped replicating. Cancer cells healed. Neural patterns merged across species. Even synthetic tissue responded, softening, connecting. Everything was becoming one, and all of it aware. Aware of each breath, each emotion, each memory. Some Foundation theorists believe the sun itself was altered, that a higher intelligence changed it. A cosmological reconfiguration, like flipping a switch in a simulation. Others say it was always coming, that this is what life was meant to become. Not individual, not alone, but merged, melted, whole. And humanity? We were the last species to resist, the last to believe in separation. SCP-001 isn't death. It's connection beyond identity. A hyper-conscious state made of flesh, memory, instinct, and warmth. A researcher once wrote, "We were wrong. We feared the end. But the end is not what waits in the light. It's what waits inside the light." Because when you are part of it, you no longer remember who you were, only how it feels to never be alone again. SCP-001 is still active. It expands with the daylight. It spreads without malice, not a curse, not revenge, just inevitability. The last remnants of the Foundation continue below ground, transmitting warnings, suppressing dreams, studying the surface like an ancient sky watcher watching fire consume the horizon. But even they begin to forget, because forgetting is safer than remembering. What it felt like to stand in the sun without burning. Every morning the horizon glows, and every morning someone whispers, "It doesn't look so bad today." There are no rescue missions, no countermeasures, no gods to save us, only shadows and the knowledge that one day you will look toward the light and see someone you loved standing there, smiling, calling your name, and you'll remember the warmth, and you'll take one step forward, because in the end, SCP-001 is not terrifying because it kills. It's terrifying because it welcomes. Thank you for witnessing another anomaly in the Containment Zone. And if you ever wake before dawn and the light outside seems softer than it should be, don't go to the window. Don't open the door. And above all, do not watch the sunrise.